This is Jocko Podcast number 99 with Echo Charles and me, Jocko Willink. Good evening, Echo.
Good evening.
It is a day for Q&A. Let's go.
Right into it. All right, let's do it. Jocko, hey, Jocko, as the director of our sales department, I require my guys to fill out sales call interaction logs. I have one guy who thinks because the sales are up, this no longer is important, nor does he have the time. How do you handle situations like this?
Okay, so as I got this question, I'm like, okay, I've answered this before. I'm not going to answer it again.
Yeah.
I've gotten something close enough.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting? I talk to some people now. I talk to a lot of people, and they say, hey, on Q&A, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. They say I still need to hear it.
Sure.
But I know what you're going to say. And I said, okay, cool. That's good. That means, people are starting to expand their brain a little bit, maybe see a different perspective that they might not have had before. So that's good, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Now, also what I realize is, as I answer these questions, there's additional information, right, that comes out once you make a certain level of understanding. Then there's more understanding to be had. And so that's what I realized with this question, as I thought, well, okay, there's the standard answer, right? The standard answer is, okay, you got people and they're not doing what you want them to do. And what do you do then? Well, the fact is, the real standard answer that everybody now knows, if you've been listening to the podcast, is they need to know why they're doing what they're doing. They need to know why it's important. They need to know how them filling out those forms will help the company and therefore help the individual that needs to fill out the forms, because it'll provide better intel to the company that will provide them more accurate advertising, which will in turn make them be able to sell more, which will in turn make the cost to produce the product go down because they're selling more, and that means he has better pricing to sell things with, and he'll be able to sell more and make more money. And so you have to tie that whole thread through. That's kind of the standard answer. Which everybody should know. If someone's not doing what you want them to do, you need to make sure they understand why they need to do it, why it's important, how it ties back to them. Okay, so boom. We get done with that standard answer. Now there's the next level, right? Now we're going like to purple belt.
Sure.
And here's the non-standard answer. Here's the advanced answer, or the purple belt answer, is, okay, now let's ask yourself, this piece of paper that you're having them fill out, is it really actually important? Is it actually important? What purpose does it actually serve? Because you want this guy who's a good producer, his sales are up, and you want him to continue to fill out these sales interaction logs so that you can track and make sure that he's making enough calls, that he's got the right approach, that he's using the right verbiage when he's talking to his customers or clients. And so you want him to fill this out, but now he's actually doing well. And you got to ask yourself, like, okay, what purpose is this thing serving? Now that the guy is doing well, what purpose is it serving? Maybe at a certain level, you say, you know what? You don't need to fill that out anymore. If you sell 10 units a day, you don't need to fill this out anymore. If you sell 8 a day, you got to fill out your logs, because we got to check and see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or are you just making this person do it because that's what everyone does?
Yeah.
So if you can't answer the question yourself, why it's important, then maybe you should check why you have this thing in place. So again, we put things in place to help people, but at a certain point, it is possible that they don't need to do it anymore. Some salespeople, maybe you want people to make 8 phone calls a day, and you want them to log down what they did. Okay, what if this guy's doing 28 phone calls a day, and he wants to get to 38 phone calls a day, but he can't because he's filling out your paperwork?
Yeah.
Okay, so if people are meeting the numbers, maybe you raise the bar a little bit, make him and you give him more freedom. He's got the self-discipline, right? He's got the discipline to make calls. He's making the numbers. His numbers are up. Okay. Give him some more freedom. Maybe he can turn that into more production. If he starts to lag off, guess what? Hey, bud, if you keep selling 10 units a day, we're good. You don't need to fill out this crap.
Yeah.
You go to 9, you're back on the filling out of paperwork. Guess what he's going to do? He's going to sell 10 every day. He's going to sell 12. He's going to sell 15.
Yeah.
Right? And then I would tell him, I'd say, hey, look, if you sell 15 units a day, I'm going to fill out a piece of paperwork that says you're awesome. I'm going to do it every time you sell 15 units.
Yep. That's good.
Boom. Little fun.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yep.
There's the white, maybe 3-stripe white belt answer. Everyone should know at this point. Followed by a little bit more advanced purple belt move, omoplata.
Sure. And at the same time, that's not to say that it's guaranteed not important.
Not at all.
You're just saying make that evaluation.
Not at all. And there is a chance that I'm wrong, right? That the paperwork that gets filled out actually really does get put into a data file that can then be used to target certain customers or follow up with certain customers. And if that's the fact, you explain it to the guy and how it's going to benefit him, and we're back to answer number 1, which worked, which is fine.
Yeah, there you go. Dang.
Right and wrong.
I dig it.
Right and wrong are interesting concepts.
Yeah.
And people sometimes get wrapped around right and wrong.
Yeah.
They just think that there's a right answer and there's a wrong answer.
Yeah.
And many times, neither question or neither answer is right or wrong, or both answers are right and wrong.
Yeah,
you got to open your mind on these things. You got to open your mind. It's like we talk about with jiu-jitsu schools. Mm-hmm. Should a jiu-jitsu school be strict, bow to your professor, everyone wear the same uniform, not allowed to ask people to roll? Or should it be, hey, wear whatever you want, the instructor's named Jocko, and go in there and cruise and train hard? Which one is right? The answer is they're both right. You can both of those have benefits. And some people flourish in one kind of school and some people flourish in another kind of school, and you can't say one's right or wrong. Same thing. I used to run in this a lot in the SEAL teams with tactics. Like, should we enter the room like this or like this? And the answer is actually, well, which is better in that scenario? And sometimes this one's better and sometimes that one's better. And so if your mind can be more open, you'll be able to use more options, which is beneficial.
Yeah. That scenario kind of reminded me of one of my friends. It was a friend of a friend. And it was actually my friend's friend's wife. And she was saying, she's kind of making light of the fact that they force their kids to watch a Charger game or something on this day or whatever. And the kids don't like football. Or the one kid doesn't like football, doesn't like watching football, doesn't like this whole thing. She was like, oh no, it's a tradition, so we make them do it, it's a tradition, all this stuff. So I'm kind of thinking like, okay, I mean, that's cool that it's like your tradition, but like no one likes it. Like, so what is the tradition doing? I mean, I understand like if you have a tradition, everyone likes it, or the tradition and it improves like, I don't know, the cohesion of the family or something like that. And for all these beneficial reasons in one way or another, beneficial. But I mean, if you're doing it just for the sake of, the tradition, like this paperwork situation.
And also, what are you doing if you're telling your kid, like, no, you'll watch the football game? Especially now that everyone hates the Chargers because they left San Diego.
This was a long time ago. But
But if you tell your kid, hey, no, it's a time for our family to get together and you don't got to watch the game, but hang out. We're going to have some hot dogs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're just, that's what it is. It's not about staring at the screen, watching something that you don't like.
Yeah.
It's about hanging out. Grandma's coming over.
Yeah.
Auntie's coming over.
Sure.
We're going to cruise. We're going to eat barbecued chicken, right?
Yep.
That's different than, hey, you sit down and watch the football game.
Yeah.
But when kids reach a certain age, they don't want to hang out with you for a certain time period.
That's what started my whole argument right there.
Yeah.
It wasn't an argument, but that's what started my little discourse.
Yeah. At a certain time period, your children are supposed to rebel against you.
Yeah.
Somewhat, because they have to convince themselves in their mind that they're going to leave.
Yeah.
And they're going to be on their own. And something in their mind triggers that to be like, okay, I need to separate myself from these other humans that have been caring for me since I was wearing diapers.
Yeah.
And now I need to get that out of my head and figure out how to survive on my own. So they do that by rebelling against you and saying, I don't watch this stupid football game.
Yeah.
I want to go to my friend Mary's house.
Yeah.
We're going to do something over there, right? That's where it heads.
Do you think that there's an element of like you know how like when you're a kid and you hit like 13 years old, you start to get this like empowered feeling, because you're like physically kind of growing up, and then your parents are you have this feeling of oppression. Not that your parents oppress you.
All those things are totally, that's exactly what I'm saying.
So I'm like, it's like an actual rebellion. Like, you can oppress me no more.
Yes.
I don't have to ride with you, you know? I don't have to walk with you in the mall.
No, I'm out. And you're trying to do that because you realize subconsciously that these people are not going to be here. I need to learn how to fend for myself. I need to get out of the nest.
Yeah. Get out of the nest.
Start flapping them wings.
But yeah, exactly right. But the tradition, just for the sake of the tradition, because actually my whole argument with the lady was that was trying to not necessarily prove, but try to find out whether or not she even thought about it. Like, why are you making
my
your
point is
kid
that there are traditions that are important, right? Within a family, within a culture. But if you lose fact, if you don't understand the meaning of the tradition, then it doesn't make sense to you.
Yeah.
So then you don't care about it.
Yeah.
But if you say, hey, look, this is our family, and this is when we get together, this is the only time, it's a tradition, so we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And that way we get to know each other, and that way we keep connected. And we can help each other.
Cohesion.
Next question.